In this video, it's time to have a look at the brakes on my Rover 75. Oh, that's a much better wiper scenario. There we go. Must reset clocks before I depart today. That would be a really good thing to do. Right, I think I will start getting this side off and having a mooch at what's going on inside the braking department. There we go, we're in. The disc hasn't got much wear on it, so that looks fairly new. No lip going on, that's encouraging. Brake pads seem to have plenty of meat. Interesting scalloping at the top of the disc. I'm not sure if that's standard or not, but yeah, sure enough, these calipers haven't got the boots on. So we can also see the beefy subframe here, which I'm using the axle stand on. Very beefy front subframe, which is kind of part of the secret of the 75 success when it comes to refinement, because all that is insulated from the body of the car. But you can see, you know, there's a huge engine mounting here, washer bottle here, so all this should be covered up by an internal panel. So while we got the wheel off, it's probably a good time to try and do something about all that and yeah, enclose all this as it should be, because you've got the drive belts here and the water is just going to spray off the wheel straight all over the drive belts. That strikes me as not an ideal situation. It is a timing chain on these diesel engines, these BMW diesels, so at least that's one less thing to worry about. But yeah, it was strange noises as I was driving along this morning, but I can't really hear it. Maybe I can just a bit. Maybe this disc isn't sitting entirely flush, but I don't think I'm going to bother getting the entire caliper off and take the disc off just to try and sort that out. But it has got a very slight judder, and that could well be it, but it's just not quite flush on the housing having been replaced. You are meant to use a dial gauge to check the run out on the discs. No one ever does that, so I can't complain that someone hasn't here. Is that a rubber cover on the caliper nut? Oh no, the cap comes off the end. There we go, and gives access to, ooh, what's that going to be? It's going to be one of those jobs. It would be, because I can't get my head in there, I might have to try and use the camera on selfie mode. Always look at the manual, I suppose. RTFM, or use a mirror, might be a better idea, but we'll work out what that is so we can get the sliders out and fit the slider boots. On the one hand, the Haynes manual is useful. It tells me these are actually Allen keys. On the other hand, it doesn't tell me what size they are. So we're going to have a play with those then. Well, hopefully there is a suitable Allen here. I'm going to take a guess on a 6, I think, to start with. No, bigger than a 6. Try an 8 then. Smaller than an 8. Okay, that's interesting. This might be more difficult than I thought. Trying to find a suitable Allen key. That's not doing either. Okay, that's great. I've got 2 sets of Allen keys and none of them fit. Marvellous. Oh, that feels like it might work. It's quite nice. Kind of looks like it was made for this job. Righty-tighty, so I'm going down on here. Oh, jeepers. Hammer. There's no point trying to use a small hammer, is there? Crack, there we go. And we better do the same at the bottom, I suppose. So out with a little plastic cap. Oh, for all those doom and glooming about this being a Scottish car and therefore it should be horrifically rotten, I believe it actually lived in Southampton. Sorry, not Southampton, Northampton for much of its life, which is nowhere near the sea. So that makes me feel better. This was not a Scottish car from new. It was sold new in Colchester in Essex. That is quite close to the sea. And then only fairly recently moved up to Scotland. And I got told off for saying Falkirk as well. It's Falkirk apparently. I might not go to Scotland again. I spend the whole time complaining about my geography. Crack. There we go. Right. Now we should be able to undo the bolts, get the caliper off, fit the booties, and I believe it will be all of the good times. Oh, first slider pin out. Absolutely dry as a bone. So this job was definitely going to be worth doing. Get those lubed up and then get them sealed in. Oh, there isn't quite enough room to swing my Allen key even on full lock. It did occur to me slightly too late, but turning the wheel would make life a little easier. It has made life a little easier. Oh, this is even worse. I can see copper grease deposits on that. That is definitely not what you want. So we're going to clean these pins up first of all. Just rest the caliper up there so it's not hanging on the hose. But the pads look good, plenty of meat on them. It does just seem a peculiarly small pressure area, and we'll get some grease, probably the metal caliper grease that someone sent me to put on the back of those. Actually, I've just noticed a bit of a ridge, wear ridge on the front now. I wonder if that's what's catching and scuffing, so we'll just knock that off. But yeah, I'll go and clean these up a bit, and I usually use red caliper grease on those, but given I've got some decent metal to metal stuff for calipers, I might use that instead. Okay, I'm slightly confused at this juncture because the new slider covers don't look any different to what's already on there, so I think I'm just going to leave those well alone. But I'm glad I've got everything off because there is no lube in here at all. So I'm just going to find the lube and lube everything up, and we'll go from there. Yeah, everything's cleaned up with a wire brush fairly well, so that's good. Bonk. So found my Ceratec, which is an achievement in itself. So we're going to lube up, I'll lube up this face here on the back of the pad, and this caliper piston as well, and then we'll do the sliders and get those back in, and hopefully all should be good. I don't want to go too crazy with this stuff. You're only trying to provide a bit of a barrier just to stop anything sticking to anything else. Probably a bit better to smear it on the caliper rather than the back of the pads, because you end up putting far more on the back of the pads than you really need. I'm going to put a bit in the just a bit, not loads, just where the calipers run, sorry, the pads run back and forth. And I've cleaned all those out as well, so hopefully everything should be good. That one seems very happy in there. This one actually clips into the caliper once you get it the right way around. It clips into the piston like so, and now we're ready to do the sliders and start reassembling. So they've cleaned up pretty well, and hopefully a bit of lube and they'll be good. And like I say, it seems the only cover for them is already there, so I'm not sure what I was looking at. Maybe I thought I was looking at them when I actually wasn't. Again, we'll just do a bit of lube, won't go too crazy, and then we can start reassembling the caliper. Go. Oh, it's already sliding home quite nicely. Just been invaded by goats off camera. That's the joys of rural Wales. You don't get that everywhere, do you? Good. So it looks a slightly better way of doing it than the usual corrugated boots that just end up knackering up everything. Find the other slider, there we go. Now, this one's a bit easier, I can actually rotate the Allen key all the way around. That's nice and tight. Yeah, this top one's a pain, because this tool is just slightly too long to rotate all the way around. Now, that pin is definitely visible there. Intriguing. Oh yeah, I think I'm going to just drop a bit more down there, just try and offer it some sort of level of protection. I can't believe that's how it's meant to be honest, but there we are. Well, you tell me, is that right? Should there really be no boot just there? There aren't any in the rebuild kit on this side, and then we're done. Was that way? Oh, that way? I think it was that way. Ah, there we go. Right, that's the one side done. Now I'll repeat on the other side, but I won't bother showing you that because this is turning into the longest, most boring video that ever existed. Just to finish the job, I've got this wheel arch liner back in of sorts, so that's protecting things a bit better than it was. Some bits seem to be missing, most of the fasteners are missing, and I've even done some drift stitching to try and hold the bumper together. It's amazing how just a few cable ties adds a fair bit more strength to that. So yeah, we're improving things all the time, and yeah, I'm liking this car more and more. I've got the axle stand from under there now, so I should be able to drop her. There we go. Job done. So that's the first noisiest sound in the world. That is the first round of tinkering on my Rover 75. And yeah, I'm looking forward to doing more. There's still a fair bit more to do. We've got the cooling fans not working. I don't think that's going to be too much of an issue this time of year. They do tend to overcool as it is, so I think we'll probably be all right there. So I'm just going to have to tighten up my tripod so you don't vanish. But yeah, there we go. First round of tinkering. Hopefully a bit more to do. So thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe before you go. Don't forget to Hubnut Store. Buy all lovely merchandise, including the 2021 Hubnut Goes Global calendar. Woohoo! I look forward to seeing you in a future video. Farewell.